The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. What we want to do is to take a look at some things by charts, but unfortunately I'm not able to do that today because of the fact that I don't have internet connection. So I just wanted to mention to you that we have some important resistance coming today in the S&P at this 1223.75 level. And we also have some very important resistance level coming in the NASDAQ, which has been the strongest. The 61% retracement on that comes in at 56.65. So keep an eye on those this morning. They're going to be very interesting to look at. In addition to that, we have the euro. After the euro made its target yesterday, it dropped 90 pips down to the key support level at 111, and then it came back today and made a 1.27 expansion at the 111.85. We get much above 112 in this, folks. We could be going to a lot of higher levels in the euro. One other market that looks very, very interesting from the short side today, and everybody is getting bullish on it now, and that is the crude oil contract. We just made the 61% retracement at 50.05 in the June crude, so kind of keep an eye on that. I had a really lovely chart to show you from one of our listeners in Asia on the long-term price of gold, and it's really a beautiful chart, and it makes a strong case that gold is heading down probably to triple digits, below $1,000 an ounce. But whether this is going to happen or not remains to be seen, because if gold can get above 1,300, then this would all change, and the market would turn very, very bullish. Unfortunately, I don't have this chart. I will have it for us on Monday, but will not be able to show it to you today. One other thing that we should mention is that we were talking about the open interest. Several people, emailed me to, ask me to explain how the open interest works. Basically, folks, the open interest is nothing more than it's a contract. It's an actual viable contract, enforceable by the courts. The only time these contracts were not enforceable by courts is when Mr. Simplot reneged on his potato contracts many, many years ago and went to court and actually broke that contract. But other than that, they've always been enforceable. For every buyer, there has to be a seller. So if you're going long, somebody else is going short. So if prices are dropping and open interest is dropping, that's a very strong sign. That means the sellers are leaving the market. The only people that are going to be left are buyers. The same thing is true on the other side. We saw this in cotton this week. Cotton reached 87 on Monday. It's now trading at, I believe, 78 and change. It's dropped well over $4,000 a contract in just a matter of a few days. I do not trade cotton. I look at it because I have a couple of friends that are in the cotton business, and I send out the cotton charts for them. But other than that, I have no interest in it. The foreign exchange is far easier to do that than anything else. Now, with foreign exchange, you don't have open interest information except for the open interest at the CME. But the CME open interest is less than 1% of all the Forex business that goes on in the world. Fortunately, the Forex business is very, very huge. And we're talking trillions here, folks. This is many, many times bigger than the stock market. Stock market gets all the news, but the foreign exchange is where the real money is. And that's cash money moving, and they do a lot of leverage and everything else. But those are mainly 13 large banks report their data on buys and sells into their data provider, and then they send this data out to everybody. And what it's doing is it's showing the spreads. In other words, there could be a big spread at Citibank on, say, the Canadian dollar versus the Australian dollar. But if you were looking at it at Saxo Bank in Europe, the spread might be a lot smaller. So you have to learn how to do that. If you're trading at the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and using those contracts that we have there, that's the best way to do it for the small trader. The reason for that is it's a bid-offer exchange that you can actually see the offers and the bids, and you're able to do that. There is also no spread on that. You're going to be buying at the bid, selling at the ask, and there's no spread. The reason why these Forex banks are popular and why they make so much money is they don't charge a commission. Ha, ha, ha. What they do is they make the spread on it. So if they have a spread of 2 points on the euro, 2 pips, and a pip means percentage in price, nothing more than a point. So if there's a 2-pip spread at $10 a pip, that's $20. So you're paying a $20 commission. At the CME, without even, if you're going through Interactive Brokers or, any of these other places, you can get around $4 round trip. So every time that you're trading, you're saving $16. And if you did 20 round turns a month, that's 300 and some bucks. I mean, that's we're talking some serious money here. Over a period of a year, you're talking close to $5,000. So keep that in mind if you want to trade foreign currency, and especially Merck also has a place where you can trade with paper trading. So you're able to do simulated trading so you understand, what's happening in these markets. And I recommend anybody that is this enchanted with the stock market is to take a look at the foreign exchange market. And to me, the foreign exchange market is the big six. That's the euro, the yen, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. And some of the cross rates are pretty good, too, like the euro yen, euro pound, yen pound. Those are also good, too. So you're talking about 10 different instruments that you can trade that are incredibly liquid and very, very easy as far as, nothing is easy, but they're very technically oriented. They hit these numbers that we look at with pattern recognition and Fibonacci ratios, just absolutely beautiful. So they don't always work, but when they do, they fit in very, very nicely. So keep in mind that's what we're looking at here in the foreign exchange for today. At the break, we're going to have Shane Smolian on, and I'm sure Shane will have some really good information for us. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to post the chart that he's going to have this morning, which will be a little bit of a difficulty, but we'll work through that somehow and figure out a way that you'll be able to get some of these information to him, and then we'll be able to see, what we're looking at right here. So that's what we're watching here early this morning. So we'll see what's happening. Hold on one second here. I have to change an order, and then we'll be okay. All righty. And pretty soon we're going to have a break here, and then we'll be able to see what's going on in some of these markets. Hopefully I'll get an internet connection sometime today, and we'll be able to, look at some of these things, and we'll go from that level. Okay, that's basically what we're looking at. I think we have a break coming now.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, folks, I've caught up with the internet finally, and what we're going to do now is take a look at what's happening with the market in the, hold on one second here, I have to make one quick change, and then I'll be just fine. There we go. Well, you can see I posted the chart of the DAX at the 15-minute chart showing the three drives to bottom pattern that we had yesterday. We have this little dead cat bounce so far. The dead cat bounce in the NASDAQ is more like a mountain lion because that thing is really jumping. Now, let's move on to something that I think is pretty important. I want to share with you this chart here on the gold. It's a long-term chart, weekly, going back quite a ways. And basically what it's showing is that gold has been in a, downtrend, since, it's been in a downtrend since April of 2011. But these are the last swings. And you can see here, after we made the three drive to a bottom down there, you can see that S1, that's the three drive to a bottom pattern. And then what we're doing now is you can see the rallies that we've had. And then it's a weekly chart. So 4 or 5 weeks ago, we got up to that 1295 level. Then we broke down. Yesterday, we snapped back to the 61% retracement at 1265, and we broke $15 from that point. And actually, we broke $17, which is the one half of the harmonic number in gold. So this is really important because if we get above this 1265 today, that means we're going to assault this 1294 level. And if we get above that, that means that this ABCD structure could possibly be wrong. But right now, it's setting up just absolutely perfectly for a move down to finish an ABCD move, which would be a double bottom in the gold market, which would be a very, very powerful sign and a very, very low-risk entry down at this 1030 level. But if we get below 1030 in the gold, we'll be looking at triple digits, something way below $1,000 an ounce, probably somewhere between $800 and $850 would be my guess if it breaks that level. Now, I'm not sure yet how it's going to work its way out, but right now, to me, gold is in a bearish mode, and I would be looking to sell rallies. However, if we get above this 1267 level, all bets would be off, and I would be thinking that we could be getting ready to complete a move to the upside. This is what it looks like from a long-term basis. And the question that someone asked is, how is this related to the stock market? Folks, I don't know if it's related to the stock market at all. I found no correlation between gold and the stock market on a long-term basis. Short-term, you'll see periods of, asset allocation or something like that, but not really that much. So I would be very, very skeptical to make any inferences on this. That's one of the problems that you have when you're trading, is that you start thinking about everything, and it makes it, a little bit more difficult. If you use pattern recognition, your decisions are going to be limited to what you see on the charts. You try to get away from the thinking part because, try to understand the fundamentals has been so far above my pay grade that I quit doing that, many, many years ago. My teacher started me doing some of this stuff way back in 1960. Dr. Jim Noblet, he used to have the Wall Street Journal there in his office, and he always made the comment. I said, "Why do you read this if you don't believe it?" He said, "Well, there's some interesting articles that I like to read, but," he said, "it also has a dual purpose in the Wall Street Journal." And I asked him, I said, "What is that?" He said, "I have a parrot named Oscar, and it's really good for the lining of his cage." I don't know if that's the case or not, but anyway, I have to tell you a funny story about this. And Jim was a bachelor, and he had this parrot, and this parrot was really smart. He could say a lot of words. And we were having a party at his house, the graduate students, and he had the parrot there, and the parrot was under his little cage with a little cover over the cage because he was supposed to be sleeping, but he was in there singing and making all kinds of noise. And all of a sudden, he starts talking. He said, "Jim, you're a real SOB." And he was saying it, not just saying the letters. He said, "You're a real SOB." He said, "You cheat on everybody." And it was so funny. This parrot picked up everything. You had to be careful what you said around him. And I was about, oh, my gosh, it must have been 40 years later. That parrot was still alive. And I guess they have a lifespan of more than 100 years. But, boy, he had a terrific vocabulary, and some of it was pretty rank. But anyway, it was very funny. I always thought that was quite cute. All right, we'll move on to the next chart that we want to look at. Folks, watch this euro, because if we get above the 112 level, this thing could have some really good legs. And the reason why I say that is that we did back off 90 pips yesterday, but it came right back, and that means this dollar index, could be breaking, even farther, to the downside. Let's just take a quick look at it here, and you'll see that we will be looking at something that would be, much, much lower. And if we get much below 95.90, you're going to be talking about a euro that's going to be up around the 114 level, which you could easily get to that level without any trouble at all and still be bearish. But at this particular point, we're at a real critical level, especially being here on Friday. And it's going to be heads up whether it's going to be an up or down week in the stock market. But, given the fact that we've had a really big break and the fact that the VIX index has certainly popped its head up and say, "Hey, look at me," then I would say we would be heading higher in the euro if we get above this 112 level. And we'll see if that's the case. That's really the main thing of what we're watching for today. The profit objective, we just want to put this up a little bit for the VIX index. We made the longer term, short term profit objective in the VIX up at that 115 and change level. We're now trading at just a tad below below 14 today, so it's only backed off a small amount thus far, but it's still a little bit early to say that being in a Friday and stuff. So we'll watch it very closely. This is the anniversary date, folks, of May the 19th of 2015. That's when we had the high in the market. Norm Winsky was on when we had the new moon, and the Mercury retrograde on May 19th. That was the biggest break we had all during 2015. So this is the anniversary date of that. And there's some strong astro stuff, as we've been talking about. And we will have Shane Smolian on here at the break in a few minutes, and we'll be able to cover some of these things that we're looking at here. So we'll watch it very, very closely. But the key things today is watch this gold, watch the euro, The S&P, if the S&P gets above this 12, what would it be? It would be the 2370. Gets above 2376. Then that would be the case that we would probably getting ready, to move to the downside. And also crude oil. Crude oil, the 61% retracement on the crude oil from the whole thing down, came in at 50.05. So watch that one also. That's another interesting one today to keep an eye on. Those are the 4 or 5 that I think are on the watch list for today, and that's what we look at. So we're going to have a break here, I think, in a second, and then we'll have Shane Smolian on. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I think we have Shane Smolian on the line. Shane, are you there?
I'm here, Larry. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm in a covered wagon today, so I don't have any internet. So
Okay.
I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll try to post the charts, and we'll see what we can do. So you're in control, my friend. Go right ahead.
Are we able to see any charts? Is anybody able to see it? Or hello?
That you'll have to, Al, or I guess not. So just go ahead and tell us what you have. And then what we'll do is I will, those that want to see the charts, if they'll email me, I will just forward them on to them. Is that okay with you?
That's okay. I think we should. We'll do the show, but I think we should do it again with the charts because it's a very visual chart, a very visual show today. I have a lot of charts to show, so I'll try. I'll do my best to explain it, and then maybe we can do it again.
Why don't we just do a little cursory thing on it, and maybe next week we will try to, because I'll be in Europe next week, and I'm sure the connection will be better. And we will do it maybe next Friday. So why don't you talk to us just about the overall state of the things that you're looking at right now? Would that be okay?
Sure, that's fine. Actually, they said if I post it on the Skype that they can do it. So I think I'm gonna try to get this.
Go ahead.
For you.
Let's just go ahead and finish her up then.
Yeah. So let me just tell you. So basically, right now, what's going on? I think the aspect that everyone's really paying attention to is this Saturn-Uranus trine, and that is that's an aspect that typically when Saturn and Uranus get together, the market doesn't like it. But this is a trine. This is not an opposition or a square or a harder aspect. So it does still affect the markets. I put an efficiency test up to show that, and that it shows that the trine is actually occurring today on the 19th, and the market tends to go down for about from about May the 16th into about June the 5th. And it's very clear if you can see the chart. If they can, hopefully they can post it soon for you. But I normally wouldn't have even looked at this too much because the Fed is in such a dominant stance right now on the market. But I did bring this up because this Saturn-Uranus trine is actually aspecting Donald Trump's chart. And so it's all tied together. All of this Comey stuff, it's, I said when he fired Comey, it wasn't a big deal. But then when I saw the memo and then I saw all of these leaks coming out, I said, wait a minute, something's wrong with this chart. Something's wrong here. This is a big deal. And the one thing that I realized was it seems like there's leaks coming out on him. Like it was like every 6 hours. And I couldn't understand how is that possible? Like how can the president be talking to somebody in Australia, a private phone call, and then it's in the press the next day? How can the president be talking with Russia in a private meeting and it's in the press the next day? So something's happening here, and in some levels he's under attack. I don't know if it's a person. I don't know if the government's spying on him, but that is not a normal unfolding of events. The president, can you imagine if every meeting Obama had was broadcast to the news, or George W. Bush or any president? So this is a very unusual situation that it seems like every time he takes a step, it's in the news. And so something's happening. So this is, when something's happening to that level, it's usually in the chart. And so it really caused me to go and look at his chart, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. But this trine, I think it affected the market. Saturn and Uranus are dealing, Uranus specifically is dealing with sudden unexpected dislocations. And when Saturn and Uranus get together, when Obama got elected, Saturn and Uranus were making an opposition. And Saturn is the establishment, and Uranus is changes or sudden disruptions to the establishment. So in a lot of ways, Trump is a Uranus candidate. So anything with Uranus is going to affect him just out of nature of his chart. But when I saw that, and then I saw the Saturn-Uranus data that I put up, there it is. They got it up online. You can see there, that's the efficiency test. So if you go back to 1885 to 2009, this has only happened 19 times. I don't have a lot of data on this, but typically it's a down aspect. Now, I don't think this is as relevant because the Fed, like I said, is in such dominant control. So if the Fed wasn't juicing this market every day, I would say we would definitely probably be down until June the 5th. But I do think it affected that drop, that sudden drop. So Uranus is unexpected events. And so what that was is, in essence, that was a sudden shock. I mean, that was like a dislocation. That was a shocking news. And so that aspect in the sky was hitting his chart, and then it hit the market. So it caused the market to drop. But the Fed juice really didn't change. I mean, it's still in a buy. So I said after that market dropped that, I don't really see any big major negative aspects here. So even though we did get that dislocation, in essence, we're still relatively positive.
Well, that's a really good description of what's happening on a political basis. I haven't seen anything like this ever in my life, so we'll see what's happening. Just keep going on, my friend. You're doing great.
The next page, I'm going to try to keep going here. The next page is the one with the Fed juice summary. They can maybe go to that.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm trying to see if it's on the Tiger TV here. If we could go to the next page, the Fed juice summary. They have the first page. Anyway, okay. So I'm talking about the Fed juice here. In essence, I've divided it into 4 phases. There it is. So instead of just saying the Fed juice is in a buy, the Fed juice is in a sell, I've been able to put it in different phases to tell you the strength of the signal. And the signal is still very strong. If you look at the S&P here on the bottom down there, you can see that this Fed juice really hasn't changed. And so after that market dropped so much that day, I was like, well, I don't really see any major astrological events. When you have major dislocations in the market, typically you want to see it showing up in 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different places. We had that one Saturn-Uranus trine. Yes, it's a relatively negative aspect, but it's not like the opposition that we had in 2008. And you can see this chart here. The blue arrows are the cycles. The red arrows are the Fed juice. This is actually as we call the market as we go. This is what's in the newsletter. So on the 22nd, there's a bottoming formation coming. There's a lot of bottoming formations actually coming right now. And that Fed juice is it's a very telling indicator because it stayed by. It didn't go into a sell. So, I would only be concerned if that Fed juice drops into a sell. So when that goes into a sell, then I would be looking at the astrology. Then I would care more about that Saturn-Uranus trine in terms of the market. But, as long as that Fed is in control like this, that's what's running the show here. I mean, and the reason I like this Fed juice is because it's such a gentle rolling indicator that we get a really nice I can really give a pretty definite direction on this market, and it doesn't really fluctuate too much. It's not like I'm saying, this planet's changing direction today, or this is a full. I mean, I can pretty much tell you, okay, it's still in a buy, and then there's a cycle low on the 22nd, and so probably 22nd is a good buying opportunity. So those you can put these two together, and we get some good trades, get some really good trades, and good forecasts out of it.
Well, you certainly had this market pegged pretty good, so keep on going.
Sure. The next chart is the green one. If we could scroll down to that, and that's going to be oil. And I've been expanding. Oh, we're going to a break here. I'll talk about that after the break.
And we'll take a little break. We'll be right back with Shane Smolian of WolfTrader.net.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest live programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 9 hours a day starting at 8 a.m. as John Logan kicks us off each trading day with the Global Market Pulse. Tuesdays and Thursdays. We broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Mondays and Fridays, catch live trading on the Nadex platform with host Tom and Tommy O'Brien, along with Daryl Martin on the Bull Bear Binary Option Hour. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour, sponsored by Nadex. Up next on TFNN.
Okay, we're back, folks, with Shane Spolian of WolfTrader.net. Why don't you continue on, Shane?
Sure, I'll go with oil. And I just want to make a word out to my followers on Twitter. We had an outage on Twitter, so there was no trade on the 30-year, guys. So let's wait on that. We might have one at 10 o'clock. We just had the copper long this morning. So anyway, okay, back to the charts. On oil, okay, this has been a really good chart. I mean, I've been combining the Fed with the Astro here, and these are the actual calls. These were made ahead of time, these blue arrows. If you go back to the left on April the 11th, we had a major top on a solar cycle. And then on the 17th, we had lunar topping. And then the 18th, the red arrow, the Fed juice went into a sell and the oil completely collapsed. So by combining the Fed and this Astro, we're getting some really just beautiful charts. Now, they're not all the same. I mean, like oil is one of the better ones, and TLT is good too, and the S&P is good. And the gold and the dollar have been somewhat lagging a little bit. But overall, I think this has really made our forecasting a lot better. I just, when I put everything in perspective of the Fed, it just all makes sense. Like, it's not a mystery. Like, I can see clearly what the bias is, if it's an uptrend, if it's a downtrend. And then we use the astrology, we kind of pepper it in there to give these dates. So these blue dates are set ahead of time in stone. These are not dates that I put in there. These are not arrows that I drew in after the fact. This is all done beforehand. And so it gives us a lot of advantage. You can see on the 18th of May over on the right, the Fed juice was in a buy, and we had that cycle low, and gold took off, oil took off again. So I really like it. I mean, I think we're making a lot of progress here with these forecasts, and very easy to follow. And then you can see the track record. It just kind of leaves behind what it did.
Certainly looks good, that's for sure. You've been nailing the stock market spot on, so keep it up.
Well, thanks. I'm expanding into these other markets, and we've been trading now. We're trading, 4 different commodities now in the week. We're trading the copper, we're trading oil, we're trading the 30-year, we're trading the ES, and that's going very well. We're using a lot of the Fed information to do that too intraday. We've had a really, really good couple of months of forecasts, and now this, the last few weeks of trading, since we've been switching over to this more of a swing trade time frame, we've been doing well on those trades too. Okay, if we could go to the TLT, it's the pink chart. TLT has been a very good one too. This has been a very good chart for us. I think it's probably the best one in terms of the Fed juice. We're able to really track these lows. Like you can see here, let's see if we can get that pink chart up. It's the next page. There you go. Okay. So you can see here the TLT tracks this Fed juice really well. We did have a buy here. Actually, I didn't put that last buy arrow on the right side on this TLT, but right when it turned up, the Fed juice on the bottom turned up, and then on the 18th, it showed that high too. on April 18th. So this is, again, this is just another way that we can combine what the Fed is doing with the astrology, and it's just been very good. I mean, I think it's very clear. And one of the problems with astrology is that, you know, you can start looking at so many aspects and planets and reversals and moons. It gets confusing. So I really simplified this down to solar cycles, lunar cycles. I do throw in different fractional harmonics on the sun and the moon. In other words, I'll put a fraction of the moon in, like a 1/12 of a cycle for the annual, and I'll do the same for the solar. But overall, this is really, I think, just simplified the process in terms of the decision making.
Okay.
All right. So the next chart. This is, now I'm going to get into some astrology here. I find this fascinating, and I'm a Uranian astrologer, which means that we look at midpoints and we look at different harmonics. We look at the 4th harmonic, the 8th harmonic, the 16th harmonic, and basically what all that means, it's like if you were looking at an instrument, there's different notes, there's different vibrations that make the notes, and so we look very clearly at these vibrations and we look for connections by exact degree. And this is why I was so clearly able to see that election. I could clearly see that Donald Trump was going to win, clearly see that Hillary Clinton was going to lose based on their charts. And now Donald Trump has a really tough chart. And so why did this happen with the Saturn-Uranus trine? Well, if you take a look there, you see on that chart, first of all, look at the letter A there. You see that letter A? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Or do you have, okay. So the red letter, so right away, this is when the Comey bombshell comes out. Now, Mars-Saturn is a termination aspect. It's one of the most difficult energies in astrology. And this is what Hillary Clinton had right over the election. And she had the Saturn-Neptune energy. But he has this aspecting his sun. You see that it's making an exact degree to his sun on the day that Comey comes out. So that's news of a termination. Now, the interesting thing about midpoints is a lot of times these midpoints will hit 3 or 4 or 5 times all at the same time. It's like they crystallize. They all come together. So if you look at B, the purple one, the Mars-Saturn transiting was also aspecting his Saturn by the same degree. So anytime something affects your sun, it's going to affect you directly, and then it's aspecting his Saturn. That's a double point. Very, very powerful. And so, that was the day that they're talking about impeachment, right? So it's all in the chart. If you look at C, again, take a look at this. Now, Saturn and Uranus, the C is the blue one. Saturn and Uranus are making the trine. Well, big deal. It's in the sky. How does it affect him? Well, look at his chart. Look at his Mars at 27 degrees of Leo. It's aspecting that. So now, think about the harmonic in the sky. That's strong when it hits that harmonic, but then it's also hitting his Mars. So now you have another Mars-Saturn aspect. You see that the same theme again, Mars-Saturn, Uranus. So sudden, unexpected news of a termination or a dislocation. Then on D, you can see that the green one, you have Mars-Saturn in his natal chart aspecting his Saturn, making a sesquisquare. Now, what we call that in Uranian astrology, when we put it on the 90-degree dial, that's an opposition. That's one of the hardest aspects you can have. So you look at this, he's got like 4 or 5 different aspects on that day that say, hey, look, you're going to have, Saturn makes you stop in your tracks what you're doing, and then the Mars-Saturn is like, it can be a lot of things, okay? It's a military energy, it's a termination, it can be a death energy. It can also be productive if you're very careful with what you're doing. You can get a lot of things done. But this, to me, this is clearly showing in his chart, A, that this is news of, we should take this seriously, it's news of a possible impeachment, and B, that he's under attack. And I talked about this before. There's no way that the President of the United States should be having private meetings and top secret meetings, and it's in the news 15 minutes later. So someone or something is after him. It's clear. So I really, I think this is serious, but I'm not really sure about the impeachment implications. But his chart gets a lot more interesting. If we go into July 7th, the next chart here, we can go into the next one. The one that says Saturn-Sun opposition, July 7th, 2017. Let's see if we can get there. Saturn-Sun, the next chart on the next page. There we go. Okay, so now Donald Trump has Saturn opposition of the Sun. Now, interesting chart here because I've seen this with people. This is coming up in July the 7th. So in other words, that chart that I showed you was when the Comey memo came out. Now, he's got Saturn opposite of his sun. What does that mean? Well, usually when we see that, that's somebody in court, okay, and they're facing a judge, and the judge is not really ruling in their favor, okay? I'll talk about this a little more when we come back.
Oh, thanks a lot. I love this stuff. Thanks a lot, Jane. We'll be right back, folks.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to the Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hey, we're back, folks, with Shane Smolian of WolfTrader.net. Shane, could you give us a quick summary of what you think is going to happen with all these things you're seeing in the president's chart?
Sure, I'll give a quick summary, and then if your listeners want to sign up for my email list, I'll try to put out a video following up, or maybe we'll talk about this again on another show. In essence, I think that it's to be taken seriously, this impeachment talk. Whether they succeed or not is another story, but his chart is difficult, and it indicates that he's going to be in front of some type of a judgment or a court. We know there's a special prosecutor. That could be the Saturn, but this is a chart that suggests that they're going to try to remove him. And on the 7th, it's a very critical day. That's the actual opposition. And then again, I want to say on the 29th and the 25th to the 29th of August, watch those days too. Now, in terms of the market, I don't really think it's going to affect the market that much. The Fed is really controlling this market. And I told people before that, the thing to watch is if Donald Trump changes, he's going to try to change Yellen. He wants to get her out of there. And if he does that, he would do that, probably start the appointment process in October, November, and that could have a bigger effect on the markets, I think. Whether he stays or not, I think it's about a 50-50 shot. And we got to question the motivations, too, of the people trying to do this. And Saturn is a karmic energy. So if their motivations are wrong, and his karma is good, and it's a whole balance of things. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he will be impeached, but it definitely shows that he is under this energy right now. This is clearly showing that picture in his chart. There's no doubt about it, and it also shows up in his solar arc too. The Saturn Neptune energy is right on his sun, so he's facing a challenge right now. So I think he can get through it, but he's in danger of these people trying to impeach him. There's no doubt about it.
Well, that certainly makes good sense, and we're seeing it in the news every day, that's for sure. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on. Could you tell the folks how they can reach you to get a sample of your newsletter and to contact you?
Sure. You can go to my website, www.wolftrader.net, and there's a email sign-up list, or you can email me at shane@wolftrader.net. And the newsletter is $36 a month. If you're a serious trader and you want to deal with the trades, we have a Twitter service too.
Hey, Shane, thanks a lot, buddy. We really appreciate it, and may God bless you and your lovely family.
Thanks, Larry. Have a great weekend.
You bet. Thanks a lot. Shane Smolian, wolftrader.net.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.